Welcome, gents. A strong mind doesn't seek comfort. It seeks truth, growth, and resilience. Mental toughness isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And Sigma males, they build it brick by brick, experience by experience, setback by setback, until nothing can shake them. While most people seek approval, security, or an easy path, Sigma males embrace discomfort. They don't expect life to be fair, nor do they waste time complaining when it isn't. Instead, they adapt, outthink, and push forward no matter the circumstances. What makes them different isn't just their ability to endure, it's their mindset. They don't need the world to understand them. They don't rely on praise to feel worthy. They don't crumble under pressure or let fear dictate their actions. They train themselves to be self-sufficient, emotionally unshakable, and mentally indestructible. This isn't arrogance. It's discipline. It's the relentless pursuit of strength, not just in the body, but in the mind. And if you see yourself in these traits, if you refuse to be controlled, if you think for yourself, if you face life head-on instead of running from it, then understand this: you are not like the rest. You are a Sigma. And that means your power lies within you, not in the opinions of others, not in external validation, and certainly not in excuses. Keep building, keep growing, keep proving to yourself that no matter what happens, you will never break. Let's get started, gents. Number one, they accept that most people don't understand them and don't care to be understood. Most people spend their lives trying to be seen, heard, and understood. They chase validation, explain themselves endlessly, and get frustrated when the world doesn't recognize their worth. But Sigma males, they don't have that problem. They learned early on that most people judge based on what they think they see, not what's actually there. People assume, they project, they label, and they rarely take the time to understand what's beneath the surface. Sigma males don't fight this reality, they accept it. They know that trying to force someone to understand them is like shouting into the wind. It's pointless, exhausting, and ultimately a waste of energy. Instead of craving external validation, they validate themselves. They don't need people to get them, to approve of their choices, or to applaud their mindset. Their confidence doesn't come from being accepted, it comes from knowing exactly who they are, regardless of who's watching. This ability makes them immune to the traps that snare most people. They don't waste time arguing with people who will never see beyond their own biases. They don't water themselves down to be more digestible. And they certainly don't perform for an audience that will never appreciate the depth of their character. This isn't arrogance, it's clarity. Sigma males understand that most minds aren't built to grasp their complexity, and they have no interest in proving themselves to the wrong crowd. They'd rather walk alone in full authenticity than be surrounded by people who only accept a watered-down version of them. And here's the irony. By not seeking understanding, they become even more mysterious, intriguing, and respected. Because people can feel when someone is truly self-contained. They can sense when a man doesn't need approval. And in a world desperate for attention, that kind of quiet confidence is rare, unsettling, and impossible to ignore. Number two, they build themselves from the ground up, no handouts needed. Most people wait. They wait for the perfect opportunity, the right connections, or a lucky break. They wait for someone to notice them, support them, or hand them an easy path to success. And when things don't go their way, they complain. They blame the system, their circumstances, or the people who didn't give them a chance. Sigma males don't have that luxury because they don't rely on anyone. If the system is stacked against them, they don't whine about it. They don't beg for a seat at someone else's table. They build their own. From the ground up, brick by brick, failure by failure, they carve out their own path, refusing to let obstacles stop them. If a door is locked, they don't waste time knocking. They find another way in, or they build an entirely new entrance. This mindset makes them unstoppable, because when you stop waiting for someone to allow you to succeed, you take full control of your destiny. Sigma males understand that nobody is coming to save them, so they save themselves. And here's the brutal truth. Self-made strength hits different. When you've earned everything yourself, through struggle, through resilience, through sheer force of will, nobody can take it from you. Sigma males don't just gain success, they own it because they fought for every inch of it. This is why they intimidate people. While others are looking for shortcuts, they're putting in the real work. While others are bitter about not getting a handout, they're too busy grinding to care. While others break down after failure, they use it as fuel to go even harder. Sigma males don't wait for permission, luck, or approval. They don't expect favors or handouts. They build from nothing if they have to. And by the time the world realizes what they've done, their success is already undeniable. Number 3, they train their minds like a warrior trains their body. Most people think mental toughness is something you're either born with or stumble into by accident. They assume resilience just happens when life throws enough obstacles at you, but Sigma males know better. They don't leave their mindset to chance. They train it, just like a warrior trains their body. For them, the mind is a muscle, and if you don't challenge it, it gets weak. That's why they intentionally push themselves into discomfort. Not because they enjoy suffering, but because they know comfort is the enemy of growth. They seek out challenges, mental, physical, emotional, because they understand that hardship is what sharpens them. They question their own thoughts constantly. If they feel resistance to something, they ask why. If they notice an emotional reaction, they analyze it instead of letting it control them. They don't allow their minds to run on autopilot because they know that unchecked thoughts lead to weakness. They also practice self-discipline in ways most people don't even think about. It's not just about forcing themselves to work hard. It's about training their minds to stay calm under pressure, to think clearly when emotions run high, and to adapt when life doesn't go as planned. They refuse to be mentally fragile because they know that weakness, even for a moment, can cost them everything. And here's what separates them from the rest. They don't wait for life to test them, they test themselves. They put themselves through struggle before the world does, so when real challenges come, they're already prepared. They don't break down when things get tough because they've already been through worse, by choice. While most people avoid discomfort and seek an easy ride, Sigma males embrace the grind. They want to be tested. They need resistance to stay sharp. Because they know the truth. A mind left unchallenged is a mind left unprepared. And when the real battle comes, the only ones who survive are the ones who trained for it. Number 4, they don't get addicted to praise or crushed by criticism. Most people live in a constant tug-of-war between praise and criticism. They light up when they're complimented, then spiral when they're insulted. They crave approval, obsess over what others think, and let outside opinions dictate their self-worth. But Sigma males, they don't play that game. They move through life on their own terms, unaffected by the noise. Compliments don't make them feel invincible, and insults don't break them. Why? Because they see both for what they really are, just opinions, not facts. When someone praises them, they don't let it inflate their ego. They don't start believing they're superior just because someone else thinks highly of them. They understand that flattery is often meaningless, and that the same people who admire you today can turn on you tomorrow. Instead of soaking up praise like a sponge, they take it as simple feedback and move on. And when criticism comes, it's the same story. They don't let negativity shake them because they know their value isn't determined by someone else's words. If the criticism is valid, they use it to improve. If it's just noise, they discard it without a second thought. Either way, it never touches their core. This mindset makes Sigma males incredibly dangerous in a world where most people are emotionally dependent on external validation. They don't need applause to feel worthy, and they don't need permission to keep going. Their confidence is built from within, not borrowed from the opinions of others. This is why they remain unshaken, even when the world tries to push them down. They don't react emotionally. They don't seek approval. They don't let others define them. While the rest of the world chases validation like a drug, Sigma males walk their path with quiet, unshakable certainty, completely free from the need to be liked or understood. Number 5, they never see themselves as victims, even when life is unfair. Most people crumble when life doesn't go their way. They complain about how unfair things are, how they deserve better, how someone else had it easier. They look for sympathy, for someone to tell them it's not their fault. But Sigma males, they don't have time for that. They understand a brutal truth most people avoid. Life isn't fair, and it never will be. Some people are born into wealth. Others are handed opportunities they didn't earn. Some play dirty and still win. None of it matters. Sigma males don't waste a second crying over the rules of the game. They focus on how to win regardless. When an obstacle appears, they don't sit around asking, "Why me?" They ask, how do I get through this? When they face rejection, they don't take it personally. They learn, adapt, and move forward. They don't expect life to hand them anything. They expect to take what they want through strategy, discipline, and sheer force of will. And here's what sets them apart. This mindset makes them unstoppable. While most people get stuck in cycles of self-pity and resentment, Sigma males are always moving forward. They don't let pain define them. They don't dwell on what should have been. They accept reality as it is, then reshape it to their advantage. This isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about mastering them. They don't waste energy on bitterness because they know it leads nowhere. Instead, they use every setback as fuel. Every betrayal makes them sharper. Every failure makes them stronger. And that's why they succeed where others don't. While the world is full of people waiting for fairness, waiting for recognition, waiting for life to be easier, Sigma males are out there making their own path. No excuses, no complaints, just relentless, unstoppable action. Number 6, they destroy illusions. Others cling to for comfort. Most people live inside carefully crafted illusions. They tell themselves they have more time than they do. They convince themselves that success is just a matter of luck. They sugarcoat toxic relationships, pretend their bad habits don't have consequences, and hold on to dreams without ever taking real action. These illusions keep them comfortable, but comfort is a slow death. Sigma males don't have that luxury. They don't lie to themselves to make life easier. They strip everything down to raw, unfiltered truth, no matter how harsh it is. If something isn't working, they don't sugarcoat it. They face it head on. If a relationship is holding them back, they don't make excuses. They walk away. If they're failing in some area, they don't blame circumstances. They fix it. This mindset makes them outliers because, let's be honest, most people don't want the truth. They'd rather stay in a bubble where reality is softened, where they can avoid responsibility and keep believing that one day things will magically improve. Sigma males see right through this. They know that nothing changes without action, that excuses are just elegant forms of self-sabotage, and that denial is the quickest path to mediocrity. This level of clarity makes them unsettling to others. When they speak, they don't say what people want to hear. They say what needs to be said. And for those still clinging to their comforting lies, this can feel like an attack. But Sigma males aren't trying to be cruel. They're simply unwilling to participate in delusion. The truth may be brutal, but it's also the only thing that leads to real power. While others waste years trapped in wishful thinking, Sigma males move with precision, making the hard choices, embracing discomfort, and building a life on reality, not illusions. And because of that, while others are left wondering why things never worked out, Sigma males are already 10 steps ahead, forging a path most people will never have the courage to walk. Number 7, they're not interested in dominating others, just mastering themselves. Power-hungry people spend their lives trying to control others, forcing their will, demanding obedience, and feeding off dominance. But Sigma males, they see through that illusion. They don't waste time playing power games because they know true power doesn't come from controlling people. It comes from mastering yourself. They don't need a pack to validate them. They don't need followers to feel important. Their confidence isn't built on how many people listen to them, fear them, or praise them. It's built on something much stronger: self-discipline, self-respect, and complete ownership of their actions. Unlike alpha types who thrive on being at the top of a hierarchy, Sigma males operate outside of it. They don't need to dominate because they answer to no one but themselves. They don't care about status, titles, or authority over others. The only thing they care about is becoming the sharpest, strongest, and most unshakable version of themselves. And here's the thing, this level of self-mastery is power. It's just not the kind that seeks attention. When you control yourself, your emotions, your thoughts, your impulses, you become untouchable. No one can manipulate you. No one can bait you into unnecessary fights. No one can make you feel small, insecure, or unworthy. Sigma males have figured this out. They don't waste time trying to lead people who don't matter or prove themselves to people who don't care. They don't chase dominance, they chase discipline, because they know that once you master yourself, you can walk into any room, any situation, any battle, and own it. They don't need to control others. They just need to control themselves. And that alone makes them more powerful than anyone trying to rule the world. Number 8, They have a ruthless ability to cut off what no longer serves them. Most people struggle to let go. They cling to toxic relationships out of nostalgia, hold on to bad habits because they're comfortable, and refuse to change their mindset even when it's clearly holding them back. They stay stuck, not because they can't move forward, but because they won't. Sigma males, they don't have that problem. They move through life with a brutal sense of clarity. If something no longer adds value, it goes. No hesitation, no drawn-out debates, no emotional bargaining. If a relationship turns toxic, they walk away. If a habit weakens them, they break it. If an old belief no longer aligns with who they are, they discard it without a second thought. They don't waste time on things that drain them. Unlike most people who let guilt, fear, or obligation keep them tied to what no longer serves them, Sigma males cut the cord without looking back. They understand that growth requires sacrifice, and they are ruthless about making those sacrifices when necessary. This isn't about being cold. It's about being efficient. They don't end relationships out of cruelty. They do it because they refuse to let dead weight hold them back. They don't abandon beliefs just to be rebellious. They do it because they prioritize truth over comfort. They don't break habits for the sake of change. They do it because they refuse to let anything control them. This ability to let go is what keeps them ahead. While others stay trapped in cycles of toxicity, indecision, and self-sabotage, Sigma males keep evolving, keep sharpening, keep moving forward. It's not always easy, it's not always painless, but they know one thing for sure. Anything that weakens them, distracts them, or slows them down has no place in their life. And if it has to go, it goes. Number 9, they take responsibility for their own mental state. No excuses. Most people love to shift blame. If they're negative, it's because life is hard. If they're undisciplined, it's because that's just how I am. If they're emotionally unstable, it's because someone else made them feel that way. They act as if their mindset is something done to them rather than something they control. Sigma males don't buy into that nonsense. They know that everything, their thoughts, their emotions, their habits, is their responsibility. They don't make excuses for a weak mindset, they don't justify self-sabotage, and they definitely don't let outside forces dictate their internal world. Instead, they treat their mind like a weapon, sharpening it, strengthening it, and taking full ownership of its condition. If they're anxious, they figure out why and work through it. If they struggle with discipline, they fix it, no complaints. If their emotions start controlling them, they step back and regain control. Sigma males understand that mental strength isn't a gift, it's a skill, and like any skill, it must be trained, refined, and maintained. They don't wait for motivation to strike, they create discipline. They don't expect the world to cater to their emotions, they master them. They don't waste time complaining about circumstances, they adapt and keep moving. And here's the truth, this level of accountability is rare. Most people would rather sit in their weaknesses than put in the work to overcome them. That's why Sigma males stand out. They refuse to be victims of their own minds. They refuse to let life dictate their mental state. Instead of saying, "That's just how I am," they ask, "How can I improve?" Instead of letting emotions rule them, they rule themselves. They know that at the end of the day, their mind is their responsibility, no one else's. And because of that, they are mentally sharper, stronger, and more resilient than most people could ever hope to be. Number 10, they prepare for the worst, but never let it break them. Most people go through life hoping everything goes smoothly. They avoid thinking about worst-case scenarios because they don't want to face the discomfort of uncertainty. But Sigma males, they expect challenges, they anticipate setbacks, and they make sure that when life hits hard, they hit harder. They don't walk around with blind optimism, assuming everything will work out just because they want it to. They know that life isn't fair, that people betray, that plans collapse, and that sometimes, despite their best efforts, things will go wrong. But here's what makes them different. They're already prepared for it. While others get blindsided by adversity, Sigma males have already considered the worst, and they've trained themselves to handle it. They don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. They don't let setbacks turn into excuses. Instead, they take every loss, every failure, every painful moment and use it as fuel, another lesson, another layer of resilience, another chance to sharpen their mindset. They understand that suffering is part of the process, That hardship isn't an enemy, it's a teacher. And instead of letting it break them, they build themselves around it. If they lose everything, they'll start again. If someone betrays them, they'll move forward, smarter, sharper, and stronger than before. If life knocks them down, they'll get back up every single time. This is why Sigma males are so mentally unshakable. They don't hope for strength, they train for it. They don't avoid discomfort, they embrace it. And no matter what life throws at them, they don't crumble, they don't quit, and they don't break. Because to them, every struggle is just another test, and failure is never the end. It's just another beginning. Number 11, they don't get intimidated, they get intrigued. Most people freeze when they face something bigger than them. Fear takes over, doubt creeps in, and they either run or make excuses to avoid the challenge. But Sigma males, they react differently. Fear doesn't paralyze them, it sharpens them. Instead of backing down, they lean in. Instead of feeling threatened, they get curious. They analyze the situation, break it apart piece by piece, and figure out exactly what they need to do to overcome it. It's not arrogance, it's strategy. Sigma males know that fear is just an emotional response, not an actual barrier. Most challenges that look impossible are just puzzles waiting to be solved. And while others panic, they stay calm, calculating every move, every weakness, every possible opening. This mindset makes them dangerous, not in a reckless way, but in a way that makes them impossible to stop. Because nothing intimidates a man who sees obstacles as opportunities. If something seems too difficult, it just means they need to level up. If someone seems too powerful, it just means they need to outthink them. If a situation seems unwinnable, it just means they need to find the hidden path forward. And here's what separates them from the rest. Sigma males don't wish they were fearless. They train themselves to handle fear differently. They don't suppress it, they use it. They let it fuel their focus, their resilience, their ability to think under pressure. So while others hesitate, they move. While others retreat, they adapt. And while others let intimidation stop them, Sigma males treat it like an invitation. An invitation to rise to the challenge, to prove to themselves that nothing is out of reach, and to dismantle anything that stands in their way. The strength of a Sigma male, unshaken, unbreakable, unstoppable. Mental toughness isn't about acting fearless, it's about choosing resilience when fear shows up. It's about standing firm when life tries to shake you, about adapting when things don't go as planned, and about pushing forward when the world expects you to quit. And this is where Sigma males separate themselves from the rest. They don't waste energy seeking validation or proving their worth to people who will never understand them. They don't beg for fairness in a world that rewards the relentless. They don't wait for opportunities to magically appear. They create them. And when life throws its worst at them, they take the hit, get back up, and keep moving. Most people will never understand this level of mental strength. They'll call it cold, distant, or even intimidating. But the truth, it's freedom. Freedom from emotional chains, from society's expectations, from the weakness that holds most people back. So if you recognize yourself in these traits, if you think differently, move differently, and refuse to let life break you, then know this: you are not alone. You don't need to fit in to be powerful. You don't need approval to be unstoppable. Your strength comes from within. And as long as you keep sharpening your mind, trusting yourself, and embracing the struggle instead of running from it, there's nothing in this world that can stop you. Keep building, keep growing, keep proving, not to them but to yourself, that no matter what happens, you'll rise again. Thank you for watching, gents, and God bless you.